to part whatever in this never-ending genocidal extravaganza. I'm only a little ill after all of these episodes, but let's see if Alex can finally convince Bill that killing babies is bad and wrong in any and all situations. Alex.
Now, I see a few problems with this, and I think my listeners will too intuitively. There's nothing I can say to prove that that's wrong, that maybe God can just permit things like the killing of innocent children by an Israelite clan. Maybe that is just okay. But the problems this raises include things like this is raised by Randall Rouser. He points out that this seems to undermine our ability to trust moral intuition. In other contexts, such as in the moral argument for the existence of God, you might appeal to the fact that we all know that certain things are morally right and morally wrong, and we sort of use that feeling to say that there must be some objective element of morality in the universe, and we use that to construct an argument for the existence of God. It seems, as Rouser points out, that nothing could be more intuitively wrong to me in this regard than the killing of an innocent child. And what we're told to believe is that, okay, maybe most of the time that's wrong. Maybe that's always wrong unless it's specifically commanded by God. But sometimes it is actually just okay as long as God commands it, meaning that there's nothing intrinsically wrong with killing innocent children. It can't be intrinsically wrong if there are circumstances in which it's actually not just permitted, but in fact the thing that you're ordered to do.
I would say that it is wrong in the absence of a divine command, but that God has the ability to override that by issuing a divine command, which then becomes our moral duty.
How does a command to murder babies become a moral duty just because some being, even a super powerful being, commands it? Commanding something immoral doesn't make it moral. That's not how words work. Isn't the whole point of a moral duty the fact that there's some morality involved in performing it? Where is the morality in murdering a baby? We all, generally speaking, have some kind of intuition telling us that murdering a baby is immoral. But now it's our moral duty because some being allegedly says so? Boy, Bill, you are an easy mark, and you certainly have no practical way of demonstrating that some all-powerful paradigm of goodness told you to kill babies, or that now, all of a sudden, killing babies is a good thing. Woohoo! A moral duty. Without that, anyone can say that whatever they want to do, whatever act they wish to perform, regardless of its moral content, is now approved and a moral duty as decreed by someone else's paradigm of moral goodness. There's simply no attempt to address the actual moral nature of the act, nor is there any attempt on the part of God to tell us how and why this otherwise immoral act now becomes a moral good. Because I said so?
As long as this ethical theory is possible, and coherent, then there just is no inconsistency between his being all good and all loving and his issuing a command of this sort. In the absence of a divine command, as I say, it could well have been immoral. But given the presence of divine command, it becomes the moral obligation of those persons to whom it was issued. Now, so it doesn't undermine our moral intuitions about what's right and wrong. It just introduces the qualification of a divine command.
But it would mean that there's nothing intrinsically wrong with taking the life of an innocent child. Nothing intrinsically wrong with it.
Well, again, this is going to depend on your moral theory, Alex. I think that right and wrong, moral obligations, are determined by imperatives issued by a qualified authority.
And you will respect my authority!
Okay, hold on right there. A qualified authority? How do we find this qualified authority? And what exactly qualifies this authority, or who? Is there a state licensing board or something? These are all just words that don't really map onto anything in the real world. Now, I know Bill likes to hear himself talk, but at a certain point, this guy's going to have to start making some sense or I'm going to lose interest.
And so in the absence of such imperatives, there literally is no right and wrong. It's a subjective illusion of human consciousness. And I think this is one of the real problems of atheism, is that lacking a moral lawgiver and moral authority, it has no basis for affirming objective right and wrong. These are just either patterns of behavior that have emerged from the sociobiological pressures of the evolutionary process, or else they're expressions of personal preference and taste. In neither case, then, are they normative.
Okay, just a quick show of hands. Who here prefers non-normative patterns of behavior emerging from the sociobiological pressures of the evolutionary process, which doesn't allow anyone to justify genocide and the murder of babies? Well, that's almost everyone. Okay, now, who here prefers the kind of divine command theory where genocide and murdering babies can be allowed and justified? Bill, put your hand down.
So in the absence of a moral authority to issue these imperatives, there wouldn't be any objective right or wrong. But given such a divine moral lawgiver, there is objective right and wrong, but that moral lawgiver himself doesn't have the same moral obligations that we do.
Obviously, this being feels no moral obligation to any of his creatures. That's clear. The other thing Bill has made clear to all of us is the case for a naturalistic worldview and the ditching of religious morality, especially divine command theory. I mean, if your ethical system can't say that killing babies is always wrong, then you don't have yourself an ethical system. If you do, it's one no one needs. We'll wrap this up in the next episode. Until then, I'm me. Thanks for watching.